feel betrayed. But worse than that, I understand why they're doing what they're doing. What really bothers me is that there's no due process. There's no process in place for those of us who legitimately did get bonuses, for those of us, which is the majority, that did our time, took these bonuses in good faith.
So that was retired Army Major and Iraq War veteran Robert D'Andrea. He is one of nearly 10,000 soldiers who are being asked to pay back a bonus that he received from the California National Guard for going to war in Iraq and Afghanistan. The Pentagon, though, is coming under fire for demanding this money back. House Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy is leading the way from California, and he released this statement, quote, "It is disgraceful that men and women who answered their country's call to duty following September 11th are now facing forced repayments of bonuses offered to them. Our military heroes should not shoulder the burden of military recruiters' faults from a decade or more so ago." Pete Hegseth joins us now, veteran of the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan and a Fox News contributor and someone who's worked tirelessly on behalf of veterans. Pete, good to see you this morning. Welcome.
Good to see you.
So what happened here? Explain, why
Sure.
they got these bonuses and the fact that some people did apparently get them improperly.
Some did. I mean, the basic contours of this are 10 years ago, we're in the middle of a hot war. We need people signing up again. As a result, we're giving them bonuses in specialty jobs and also general jobs of large bonuses, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 to sign for 3 to 6 more years at a time of war where they potentially may go back to Iraq and Afghanistan. So the program makes sense. And they sign in good faith because they understand, hey, I'm putting my life on the line and the military is going to compensate me for it. That's what it is in general. Fast forward 10 years later, someone did an audit and looked at maybe there were some improper processes, some who didn't necessarily qualify, or there was some corruption inside the bureaucracy. But who's being blamed for it? It's that individual soldier who thought they could sign up for 3 to 6 years for this bonus and serve their country. That's the outrage, is that we made a promise to these guys, we put money in their bank account, and then 10 years later, we're taking it out without explanation, and we're doing it with a wide net. So even those who maybe did do so improperly, they're being hit, but so are the ones that did nothing wrong.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin McCarthy is leading the charge on this. It seems pretty obvious, I think, to most Americans and most politicians that this would be a very wrong move. And when you look at the stuff that we waste money on in this country, to take back money from people who used it in many ways to, put a down payment on a house, to make an investment in their future, seems mean and ridiculous.
And it is, and that's why I think this will change. Ultimately, the California National Guard can do nothing about it because it's a federal issue. So Kevin McCarthy and others are fighting to get this taken back, and I think it will be because the American people, there's just a sense that this is wrong, and it is. This has happened to me before in my military career. The military pay system is a complicated, tricky thing. They took back parts of a bonus I got many number of years ago. I was never told about it. It just started coming out of my paycheck. So if you're the individual soldier, pretty soon you start losing money, or you start getting bills, you start getting threatened by a bureaucracy. You have nowhere to go except your champions in Congress. So this should get fixed. It will get fixed because it's an outrage. It really, really is, especially when you look at the billions we spend on illegal immigrants and a lot of other things. We can't help out a few soldiers from California who went to Iraq for us. I think we know the answer to that. And
also, I don't understand why they can't. You say there were certain instances where perhaps somebody received it by mistake. I mean, then just isolate those incidents and ask those people for the money back. There's no reason to do a blanket over this. And can't they? There's 10,000 people. They have so many people working in these bureaucracies. They can't spend a little time to figure out who they are.
Well, you hit the key word on it, Martha. It's bureaucracy. Bureaucracies don't do specialization very well. So they use a few criteria, and then they apply to all. And unfortunately, that is what's happening in California. There's one other part here. The California National Guard did have issues with a recruiting scandal a number of years ago, so there's extra eyeballs and scrutiny there. There were some recruiters that were doing some improper things. This is not what we're talking about here. We're talking about soldiers that signed thinking one thing that are now being hoodwinked 10 years later. So the bureaucracy is in its own way. It's going to take members of Congress to fight for the soldier on the ground.
Well, that would be time well spent on their part. It seems like the focus and the push ought to be back on the bureaucracy to get it right and to figure out who those individuals are and not punish the rest of them. That really shouldn't be that hard to do. Pete, thank you very much.
That's where the onus is.
Yeah, good to have you here, Pete.
You got it.
We'll
Thanks,
see you soon.
Martha.